Hello and welcome back to another lesson of the Logos and Letters. My name is Liam, and today we're going to tackle, well, in this lesson, I need to sort that out. I'm so sorry. We're going to sort out this this section here, right? Clean up this. Okay. This is an interesting one. Trigonon, degai, tetragonon, udokai. So triangles or four angled things do not seem udokai domalon ebidekestai to receive or to accept the greater, right? Or to be in a state of, anyway, so don alon schematon uden. So nor the other shapes, nor any of the other shapes, okay? So he's saying, this fourth genus inside the supreme genus of quality, this fourth subordinate genus of like shape and what was the other word? Like figure and form, okay? Figure being shape, form being what's in the shape. They don't receive, okay? There's an exception here, okay? Let's explain it. Tamen gar epidekomena ton tu trigonu logon ton tu kyklu panth homoios trigona kykloisi. Donde me epidekomenon uden malon heteru reitheisatai. Alright, so in short, let's tackle this. Alright, it's quite straightforward. The things receiving the definition of triangle, okay, that's actually how you have to read it if you want to translate in English. Ta epidekomena. For on one hand, garmen, it introduces like contrasting ideas. See, this is the other contrasting ideas. Tamen gar epidekomena. So the things receiving, the things accepting, things, I think there's like 4 different translations for this root verb. Tondu trigonu logon. The definition of triangle. So tamen gar epidekomena tondu trigonu logon. So those things receiving the definition of triangle or of circle, panthomoios, in accordance with all the triangles or the circles they are. So in the last lesson I touched on this. I teased it. I sent out an entree. I warmed it up, okay, this concept. And that is the fact that the abstraction is fixed. It has a definition of what it is. If it fits the definition, it is that thing. It has the essence that the definition is capturing. So if it has 3 angles in an enclosed figure on a plane surface, that is a triangle. If it has 4 angles in an enclosed figure on a plane surface, that is a square or rhomboid, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean. Rectilinear figure. I don't care. So long as it has 4 angles and enclosed thing. Enclosed figure. So that's the gist of it. Okay. So these things, like triangular and square, don't accept the more or less. They don't accept of degrees. They don't have degrees to which they are that thing. Why? Principally for 2 reasons. One, consider it that anything that is, say this is a triangle, okay? Say this is a triangle, right? You say, oh, that's a triangle. It has the accident of the quality of triangular, but the actual substance is whatever this brick window thing is, this stone window thing is. That's the substance. The substance isn't a triangle. It has the quality of triangular, of having 3 angles, right? Enclosed in a plane figure shape, right? And you could trace the actual triangle there. The triangleness is an accident existing predicated of this substance. All right, it finds its existence through this substance. So it doesn't accept of more or less, because triangularness and squareness just has a fixed definition, right? And that is that. All right, and it's just so. And remember how I kept speaking in chapter 6 about how quantities just shrug their shoulders so much, and how they're quite related to substance itself when it comes to their special rules? Here's another example. Substance doesn't emit of degrees, does it? Right? No primary substance is more or less primary substance than another primary substance. And it's the same for triangular and square. I know that they're accidents. Okay, I'm aware of that. But they're sort of related to quantity. And just through that alone, there's this really interesting connection that you can sort of feel into it. That these things don't accept of degrees because there's something quantitative about them. There's something mathematical about them. They're so fixed and black and white. Unlike things like courage, okay? Where courage has no figure. It has no shape, right? These things have a figure and a shape. They're literally traceable. Their silhouette is knowable. Whereas something like courage or politeness or gallantry doesn't have a clear-cut figure. It has a definition in the dictionary by which we can identify things and come to universal agreement, but just not in the same way as this, okay? Donde me epitekomenon, right? Those things that don't accept, aren't accepting of the definition, ton logon, ude malon heteron heteru, raithesetai. They won't be spoken of, raithesetai, as being more or less than one another, heteron heteru. So it's either you have the definition, you fit the essence of what it means to be triangular, you fit the nature of what it means to be square, or you don't. Simple as that, right? And if you don't have it, they won't be spoken of more or less, aka they won't be compared to one another. So you can't compare a triangle and a square, triangle and a circle, any two shapes with one another, because they have different definitions of what they are. They're like species and a genus. All right, the species of triangle, which has its equilateral, scaling isosceles and right angle, right? That's a species, triangle. It's not compared with another species such as square. All right. All right. So we'll just carry on then. Uden malon Uden gar malon to tetragonon tu heteromecus kyklos estin. Interesting point. So to tetragonon, the square, tu heteromecos kyklos estin. Heteromecos, it literally means different length. Circle is, right? This is a difficult idea to sort of capture, but imagine we put a circle and a square next to each other. I'm not going to have an artwork of a circle and a square next to each other. If I did, that would be some piece of divine miracle. No, I don't even have a circular object next to a square object by the looks of it. So I'm just going to have to leave it on a random image. Let's just leave it here then. All right. Okay, so you have a square next to a circle, and the square can be different sided, and the circle's next to it. Can you, in any way, say that they're comparable? No, you can say that they're similar in being a shape, okay, because they're both species to a genus. The genus being shape, and you don't say that's more of a that's less of a circle when you're looking at the square. All right, I know that sounds so strange, but because it's something that we don't do, right? But that's what he's pointing out. If you have two different shapes next to each other, you don't say that other shape is less of a triangle than the other. Of course it's less of a triangle, it's a square. That's the point he's trying to get at. If that sounds confusing to you, it's because we never do it. It's because it's absurd. No one looks at like an oblong square and a triangle and goes, it's almost a circle. It just doesn't make sense. It's like treating the absurd. He's trying to prove his point by treating the absurd. And if it's confusing, good, because it's absurd. Right? Because none of them, no sort of square receives the definition of a circle. And no circle receives a definition of square. They can't be compared. Haploste, frankly speaking, or generally speaking, ian me epidiketai amphoteraton tu prokaimenu logon u ton heteron tu heteru malon. So generally speaking, if they don't accept either of them, the proposed definition to prokaimenu logon, the given handed forward definition, the proposed definition, they will not be said to be more or less than one another. All right, so we're learning that not all qualities receive more or less, and we've learned that about shapes, but now we're learning that how definition plays a role here. How definition governs this whole process. Why? Because a definition's role is to articulate the essence or nature of a thing, not its accidents. Not its accidents. Right? Accidents don't come in the definition of a thing. Only its nature and its essence. Okay, so that is playing a huge role there. I'm not going to repeat that whole thing that we learned in chapter 1, even though I wasn't a very good teacher back in chapter 1. I was a bit of an awkward bloke just speaking into a microphone, trying to articulate these things, but I think we've learned well enough all that sort of content, so I'm going to proceed on to prokaimenu logon u rethesetai to heteron tu heteru malon. So they're not going to be spoken of as greater or lesser than the other. Panta unta poia epiteketai to malon kai to heton. And he finishes off with like a tying a bow on it. So not all of the qualified things, the qualities, things that have qualities, receive or accept degrees, or more or less. To malon kai to heton. Okay, so leave that there. If anything, just take away this one rule, that not all qualities that you can consider that a substance might have will accept of degrees. And even if you forget that it's shape, schemata, right? Where is that word? Was it? I swear I looked at it. I even said it. You're probably looking at it and saying it's right there, but I can't see it. Anyway, I swear I saw it. Here, schematon. These kind of qualities don't accept more or less. If you take that away, that's perfect. Again, you might be thinking of how is this practical? It's practical because it's really nice. It's really nice how definition plays a role here, and it brought back the importance of definition and its purpose. We haven't spoken about that in a while. It's a very, very good opportunity to refresh that. So thank you to this paragraph here. Thank you to the author of this paragraph. Furthermore, it prevents us from making too many comparisons between things when we don't need to make comparisons between those things, because they're not comparable. All right, they just don't. There's no reason to compare them. All right, so that's also a helpful thing. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this lesson was interesting in some way, in some little way. If it was interesting, that's great. That's a victory. And if you've learned something new, fantastic. We've come away greater than before. We've improved ourselves in all sorts of things. You know, as the saying goes, vir doctus in se semper divitias habet. A learned man always has riches in himself. So everyone's a little bit richer from learning something in this lesson. And if you've improved your Greek, throughout this lesson. Say if the logic didn't interest you at all, but you learned a new Greek word, or you improved your Greek, or just your confidence with it at least, then that is a victory in itself. Okay, not everybody can say that they can read or understand ancient Greek, especially not this Greek of Aristotle. It's quite dense and intricate and very, very lean. I mean, if you think this is bad, just wait till we get to prior analytics. That's hard, man. That is a labor of Hercules to get through that. I tell you what. But we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Don't you worry. We'll climb that mountain. And yeah, in the next lesson, we'll clean up this paragraph here. And yeah, leave it there. Thank you so much. And as always, si semper fortis in opere tuo. My name is Liam, and I'll see you next time.